nowadays, I think the first point of call is through the internet, without any shadow of a doubt. Then you can see perhaps reference books or written material relating to that particular subject, and if you wanted to research it more, you'd probably go into these particular books. But the internet, I think, is an absolute marvellous invention, and it's easily accessible, and provided you know what you're looking for and how to word a question into it, then you should be able to get the answer. If I want to speak to somebody, I'll get their email address and speak to them that way.
Sometimes a library will have a computer with internet access which you can use. So, and library staff who are quite helpful in helping you to get into the information on the internet. Many people don't like to do that, but organisations, particularly government ones, seem to feel that if it's on the internet and they've got a website, then that's the end of it. Everybody can access that either through their library or they've got a computer at home. And it is true that many older people have joined the computer revolution, and they do have access to internet at home, and they do have younger members of the family who know their way around, but they're not there when you want them necessarily. And learning how to get round a website when you're not feeling up to it or you haven't really got the time, for many older people is not the way. In the future, I think the generation that's growing up now will look to technology much more than we do now, but they too will get old and frail, and they won't necessarily be able to manipulate whatever, because we don't know what advances technology will have in the next 10 years. If it's anything like the last 10 years, maybe we'll just have to talk into the ether and we'll get an answer. Who knows?
I use the internet. I find it as a hobby, or useful as a hobby, and I also find it useful for keeping your records, handling if you've got any savings you can manage through the internet. And I think it's well known that if you have a few savings, that you can obtain better results in the way of interest through the internet than you can go to the high street. I've been using computer probably during the last 8 to 10 years. At my age, computer is quite a complicated piece of gadget, but challenge is useful. It's at any age, especially at mine. Well, I'm grateful to my daughter, who is quite good at the computers, and she gives me a help, and she has given me a help whenever I need it, and so gradually I got used to the idea how to use it at a simpler level. I use my computer for emails. I make inquiries about the home, furniture, car insurance policies, and sometimes it's quite useful to go to the internet to read other people's ideas or events. And all in all, it is a gadget that's useful. I do spend quite a bit of time reading local and national newspapers. In addition, I find teletext on television very useful. I spend quite a bit of time there, either looking at my shares portfolio or other general news. In fact, I find it more useful to read the news than it is to listen to the TV itself when the news is on. There are occasions, of course, when you need to use a telephone. Somebody might ring you up and ask you to ring them back, or you might get hold of a particular individual you want to speak to, so you use your telephone. In addition, if I can't cope with some faults on my computer, I tend to ring up to the help centres and I find them very useful there, except that sometimes I find it difficult to cope because of my defective hearing mechanism.
I was just learning them, just using the computer with the mouse, you know.
Right.
And
So you use that now?
no, I don't, because I haven't got one. My grandson's got one.
My computer, and I'm not a computer wizard, but my computer is even slower at working than I am. And I'm one of these people, I'm afraid, that I'm a hands-on person. I mean, if there's something to do, I'd rather do the labour work or the active side of things. I did admin all my life, and I left that behind when I gave up, and my mind's so divorced from it now, because having been a carer for so long, I haven't had time to reorganise that side of my life particularly well. I've gone onto computers, I don't really understand them, and when I go onto mine, it takes about 5 minutes for me even to log on. I believe there's a way of getting it sorted, but I don't know who to get in touch with, how to get it done, and even if I do, there's going to be money at the end of it that needs parting with to get it sorted. I don't have that opportunity, so I tend not to go on the computer too often.
Well, I go to the library quite a lot to get information. A magpie when it comes to picking up leaflets, which annoys my wife tremendously. I invariably find something interesting at doctor's surgeries, for instance, the care homes I go to. But the library is the main thing, I suppose. I've had a computer for 2 years, I'm still trying to find out how to use the damn thing.
Right.
I can use a mobile phone, but I think a lot of it I haven't got time to study the books that tell you. But I'm hoping to get some computer training through a research group that I'm involved with. But I think once I've got used to the computer, I'll be on it all the time.